Hey everybody, welcome back to the studio. Well, it's a long weekend and it's a smoky weekend here in Southern Alberta, and I have a huge list of videos that people have been asking me about. So I'm here today and I'm hopefully going to get through making 3 or 4 of these videos so I can get caught up on my list I have sitting here. So let's get going and let's start talking about some of the questions that people have sent me. Okay, one of the first questions is, what do you do for organizational software? So how do I organize my photos? Okay, let me tell you what I don't like about software, and then I'll tell you what I use and how I do it. First of all, one of the biggest things that I don't like about any software out there is software that only organizes it virtually. So what do I mean by that? Well, you download your files to your computer and the software files it in their own little particular folder. And then when you go and assign names to it, like wildlife, like nature, so on and so forth, it leaves the original file in this giant folder in the subfolders that you cannot read, and I really don't like that. Second thing is I don't like any software that is organizing things that are only being organized using their software. Why? Because if you ever change the computer that you're using, if you go from Mac to PC or PC to Mac, if you ever do that, then you may not get that software for that next computer. Or if it happens like some companies, then they shut down or they sell out and their unit is bought by somebody else. You have to move all your stuff from that to the next one. Or if you have a software that you're using and it's affordably priced today, and then all of a sudden tomorrow or in a month from now or 2 months from now, they all of a sudden come out and they say, look, we're going to start charging you a subscription price, or we're going to start doing this, or we're going to start doing this, or we're tripling our price or whatever, you're stuck with them. So I don't like any software that is so specific that you are stuck using only their software, or you're faced with massive amounts of migrating from one software to the next software. So that's what I don't like about software. What do I do, or what do I like about software? Well, the big thing that I like is I like being able to organize all my stuff into my own folders that I name and that I know what they are. So take, for instance, yesterday. I went out and I shot some birds yesterday, or I photographed some birds. And I came back, I have them on the card, and I put them in a folder that is under birds, and then it's under yesterday's date. Now, I know exactly where they are. I know how to find them. If I'm not even using that software, if I'm just looking through a viewer, through Windows or whatever, I can find those pictures. So I like a software where I can set up my own folders. That's the big thing. And those folders can be read by any program. Those folders can be viewed with or without different programs, and you are set to go, and you're not tied into one software. So what software do I use? Well, I use one called ACD SEE. Now, I've been with this company for years. In fact, I'll be honest, I was one of their beta testers many years ago. So I know this software inside and out. And I quite like this software. It has flaws, don't get me wrong. It is not a perfect software, but it does everything that I want it to do. And the big thing that I want it to do is I want it to be able to transfer my images from my camera card to my computer. I want to be able to see those images. I want to be able to double click on them and get them larger. I want to be able to zoom in. That's all I want. I don't want the program to do a lot of editing. I do my editing in Photoshop. I don't like doing editing in my viewing program. I like a fast viewing program. I like something that will pull up my pictures and I can scroll through one after the other. I can go click, 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 and I can see picture after picture after picture after picture. I like something that's easy to delete a picture. I don't want to have to go through 10 different keystrokes or 10 different buttons and able to delete a picture. I want to be able to hit that button, delete it, and move on to the next one. The other thing that I really like is I like a program that's quick and easy to transfer the files or the images into an editing program. And with the one that I use, the ACD program, I'm able to hit number 1 because I've set it up that way, and those files will open in Photoshop. I can then do my work, and then I can save it back. That's all I want in an edit or in a viewing program, because I do my editing outside of that program. So I don't want something that's so bloated that takes 2 minutes to start and that you're fighting with, and that it just bogs you down to you're just not using it. So that's what I like. Now, how do I do my filing? Well, I already mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I do it like this. Every year, I start a new file folder, and that file folder is the current year. So this is 2021, so I start a file folder that says 2021. Then for the studio, inside of that file folder, I have different folders. I have commercial, I have restoration, I have family. When I used to do weddings, I had weddings, so on and so forth. Then within those files, I then have sub-files for different clients. So under commercial, I may have ABC Manufacturing. And ABC Manufacturing has their own folder. And within that folder, I then have subfolders for each time I go to a job. So if I go to a job on January the 7th, I have a folder for January the 7th. If I go February the 12th, I have a folder for February 12th. Those are all kept organized. Within those folders, I then have my unedited pictures, my edited pictures, and so on and so forth. Quick, easy to find. Client will phone me up. I did work for 10 years ago. Mike, do you remember our company? We're XYZ Manufacturing. And I go, okay, I remember shooting for you. Well, you did some pictures for us back in 2019. And you shot these pictures for us. We really liked them, but we lost the files. Can we buy the files from you? Sure, let me go and get them. So I'll plug in the drive that has all those files on it. I'll go to commercial. I'll go to their file, and then I'll say, which date was it? I did it 4 times. I did it in March, I did it in April, and I did it in May. They'll say, we need the May ones. So I'll pull up the May ones, and then inside of that file are all the edited pictures. Simple, straightforward. That's how I do it for jobs. When I used to do weddings, it was the same thing. The year, then a folder called weddings, and then the person's name. So let's say I did Jack and Jill's wedding. So I'll have a folder that says Jack and Jill. Inside of that folder, I will have a folder that's called unedited images. And I put all my images in there. Then when I'm going to work on those images, I move them from the unedited folder to the work folder. Or actually, I should say I copy them from the unedited folder to the work folder. That way, when I'm working on the images, I still have my originals in the file. Then I will go and do my work on it. Once I get them edited, once I get them cropped, so on and so forth, they will all be in the work folder. But I still have my original files in the unedited folder. And that's something I want to bring up too in this video. I see so many photographers that are starting out saying, I crop my images. I go through and I call them, and I go through and I do this, and I go through and I do that. That's great. That's wonderful. But please never, ever, ever get rid of your images. Keep all the unedited images. Why? Because someday it's going to come back to bite you. Someday you're going to delete an image and you're not going to realize that you had the bride and the groom in this picture. Then you had the bride and the groom with her mother. Then you had the bride and the groom with her mother and father, but you forgot and you deleted the ones of the mother and father, and you only gave them the bride and groom and mother pictures. And all of a sudden you went through and called them, but you're stuck. So never, ever, ever get rid of the originals. Always copy and then work on the copies. Now, when I'm doing my nature and wildlife, the same thing. I go through and I start a folder that says nature and wildlife, which I have on all my drives. And then under that, I have all different names. I will have birds. I'll have Waterton, Banff. I'll have wolves. I'll have bears. I'll have so on and so forth. And I put pictures into those files with the name, which would be wolves, then the date, which would be 2021-08-27, and then image number 1. And I keep them in those folders. Now, you're probably saying, why not just go through and tag all your pictures? Yes, I do that as well. but I like a way that I can go in and I can manually go in and I'm not relying on a program to find the pictures. Over the few years that I've been doing this, 36, and with being in digital now, I think I'm over 20 years in digital. I think I'm actually closer to 25 years in digital. I have seen some horror stories from people. One photographer that shot a lot of local sports used to file all his stuff using one program, and it was all organized in that program. They came out with an update, he installed the update, and every picture he had vanished. Why? Because they changed one small thing, and that was where it looked for the files. He had to go through and reinstall the old program to be able to find where it stored the files, then to be able to take the new program and direct. It was a pain. He was just sweating buckets. He thought he lost everything. So please, 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 organize for yourself. Yes, use tags. Tags are great. Let's say you go to Yellowstone Park and you photograph wolves. Then what you would do when you come back, you would put a folder on your computer, Yellowstone. And in there, you would keep all your pictures of your trip to Yellowstone. The buffalo, the wolves, the bears, the geysers, whatever it is, you would keep them all in the same folder. Then you would go into that folder and you would tag them. So you would tag bears, you would tag wolves, you would tag them with Yellowstone, you would tag them with fall, you would tag them with 2021, you would tag them with all different stuff. Then that way, if you're ever looking for those files, you can always go through it and search by tags. But if something should ever happen and those tags become corrupt or something like that, you're still able to go through manually and go to the file folder, Yellowstone, 2021, September, and look at the pictures that way. So that's how I do it. That's how I found works so good. The only thing that I'll add to it is always make backups of everything. And I've said this in other videos, and I'll say it over and over again. External hard drive, back up that external hard drive. Take it, store it off-site. Keep one hard drive at one location, another hard drive backed up at another location, and back up regularly. I hate getting the phone calls, usually on a Friday or Saturday night, going, oh no, I lost pictures. Back up, back up, back up, and keep organized. One last thing before I go, always back up as soon as you're done shooting. Don't leave it for the next day, the next week, or the next month. I get so many people phoning me up saying, can you do a recovery on my card? I say, why? What's wrong with it? Well, it just so happens that I deleted some pictures that I really need, and I thought I had transferred them, but I didn't. If you get done a job or get done a shoot, you come back to your house or your office, you upload them, you make sure they're backed up, you make sure that they're on a couple drives, then you can format your cards and you're never wondering, did I put them on my computer? So until next time, get out there and take some pictures, make sure that they're saved correctly, and organize them and get them out there so people can see them. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.